Interview with Lauren Gladley.
Interview? Hi, my name is Lauren. I'm sitting on this bus, going to Liverpool. Lots of Beatles stuff. I like the Beatles. They're good musicians. Very good musicians. Very talented young men. It's hot. But
Liverpool or the Beatles?
Liverpool, the Beatles, this bus, all very hot.
If you could sum up your excitement at this point, pre-Liverpool, into one word, all-encompassing, what would that be?
Jazzafras.
Is that a real word?
I just made it up.
Cool.
It expresses my excitement and how hot it is. How hot it is as well. That's in there, in that word.
What part of the word?
The fraz.
Fraz.
Kind of like frazzled, like really like high heat. 'Cause high heat causes frizz, which sounds like fraz.
Asked the girl what she wanted to be. She said, baby, can't you see? I want to be famous, a star of the screen, but you can do something in between.
So now we're in Liverpool, and it's a pretty long bus ride, but we're here now, and it is great looking so far. We're still in the bus. We just watched a movie about the Beatles. Lauren, the movie.
It was very sad.
I thought it was kind of weird, but Rachel?
Yeah, it was like pretty weird. It like didn't even make me sad a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it was just so.
It made me sad a lot of it.
Okay, so we have some disagreement, but so anyway, we're here now, and hopefully we'll get some footage of the city, some stuff in the city, and
Seems like a terrible way to die.
Oh my god.
No, that's so traumatic.
But I bet you that Paul McCartney like breathed over there once.
breathe over there.
Okay, make sure you get all your gear together
right
because
there.
we're quite close.
The Philharmonic Hall is one of the principal music venues here, also a theater. The Beatles apparently never played here. However, they certainly did see Buddy Holly play here in 1958, okay? Okay, McCartney owns all the rights to sort of Buddy Holly's music, okay? Because I mean, clearly a big influence on the early Beatles and McCartney was Buddy Holly. So Buddy Holly actually played here in 1958, and we know for sure that Paul and George actually attended that concert. That pub over there, the Philharmonic Dining Rooms, it's actually a pub. Can eat over there as well. One of John Lennon's favorite hangouts. Okay, you should go in because we're just around the corner. But anyways, that was one of John's favorite hangouts. Of course, they lived along. They were on this street quite a lot because they went to school just down this block. Okay, John's great lament. One of his great laments about being famous was that he wasn't never able to go again into the Philharmonic for a beer or for a pint or for a drink. Okay, so one of his great laments. But the Liverpool Institute is right there. That was the top high school in Liverpool in the 50s and the 1960s, right? You had to pass your 11 plus examination to get in there. And in 1953, Paul McCartney got in. He was 11 years old in 1953. In 1954, George Harrison got in as well. McCartney was actually quite a reasonable student. He was more diligent as you can imagine he would be. Harrison, however, sort of was not a particularly good student. He frittered away his time while he was a Liverpool Institute. But between 1953 and roughly about 1960, that was their school, right? And this is the Liverpool College of Art. So adjacent to the Liverpool Institute, where Harrison and McCartney were going in the late 50s, this is where Stuart Sutcliffe, Cynthia Powell, and John Lennon were going. Stuart Sutcliffe was a very talented artist himself without Phil. He could have made it as an artist, but he was persuaded by his buddy more or less to give it up for a while and sort of pick up a musical instrument and go off to Hamburg, etc.
And in just a moment, as we continue on our journey down Hope Street, you can't fail to see one of the largest buildings in Liverpool. Over to our right-hand side in a few moments, you'll be able to see Liverpool's Anglican Cathedral. So this building on our right-hand side is Liverpool Cathedral. It's the Church of England Cathedral in the city. It's actually the largest cathedral in the United Kingdom, and it's the largest Anglican cathedral anywhere in the world. But the cathedral could have had quite a nice Beatles connection. Back in 1953, when he was 11 years of age, Paul McCartney came for an audition for the cathedral choir. At the time, he was a choir boy at St Barnabas's Church, which, as you'll see later in the tour, is the church that stands at the top of Liverpool's Penny Lane. His choirmaster sent him along for the annual audition. What happened? He failed the audition. The choirmaster at the cathedral told him his voice wasn't strong enough. But I guess you could argue that Paul did get his own back on the cathedral, because it was in this very building at the world premiere of McCartney's first ever classical piece of music, the Liverpool Oratorio, was staged. But on a much sadder occasion than that, it was also here in this building at the end of March 1981 that the official memorial service took place for John Lennon. That was a festival of peace organised by the city authorities in memory of John, who'd been murdered in the previous December of 1980.
There are places I remember all my life, though some have changed, some forever, not for better. Some have gone, and some remain. All these places have their moment.
Well, Ringo Starr, or Richard Starkey to give him his proper name, was born and spent the whole of his life in Liverpool, in this part of the city where we are now. If you take a look out of the coach over to your left-hand side, you can see Madryn Street. And what I want you to do is to look to the left-hand side of the street and count 5 doors down. In fact, to the very first house, which is still to be boarded up. That's number 9 Madryn Street, and it was in that house at home that Ringo Starr was born on the 7th of July 1940, making him the oldest of the 4 Beatles. You may have noticed as we drove up this road that almost every single property on the left of us is boarded up at the moment. This is because this whole area, 444 homes, is part of a huge redevelopment project that is probably going to result in all of these houses being demolished and replaced by brand new housing, and if that happens, sadly Ringo's birthplace will disappear. As you can see on the right, Admiral Grove, and if you take a look down Admiral Grove, halfway down on the right hand side is a white house. It actually stands out very well from the rest. It's the only house without a hanging basket outside. That's number 10, and that's the house into which Ringo and his mother moved in 1945, and that's where Ringo then lived until he left home and took up his career with the Beatles in 1963. So as you can see, he spent the whole of his life living in 2 very ordinary, actually quite small houses in the same part of the city. So we'll just edge forward a little bit, and we'll be able to let the people at the back of the bus see. If you take a look down there, the White House halfway down on the right hand side, number 10. But for everybody, while you're here, you may want to look at the pub over to the right, the Empress.